Hi, this is Holly of Holly's Soapmaking. In this video, I'll show you how I made a multicolored feather swirl soap. This soap was one of my attempts at the Soap Challenge Club's Back to Basics Challenge, where we tried to create a smooth soap with contrasting colors using the supplied color palette. If you're interested in seeing the soap I entered, I'll post a link to that video below. And if you'd like to see the recipe I used for this feather swirl soap, I'll post it at the end of this video entered into a soap calculator. Be sure to always protect your skin and eyes when making soap and practice lye-safe handling procedures during the entire soap making process, even while cleaning up. To attempt to match the colors in the Soap Challenge Club color palette, I prepared 6 different colorants, mixing each with either sunflower oil or distilled water so they incorporated easier later without too much blending. I blended just until reaching an emulsion, weighed the entire batch, and then divided it into parts. 30% for the colors in the feather swirl and 70% for the white soap that will surround them. I then divided the 30% into 5 different parts, 22% each for dark blue, light blue, orange, and yellow, and the remaining 12% for the black soap. For the black soap, I added 1/2 teaspoon of the charcoal oil. I used my small blender just to make sure the colorant was mixed well. For the light blue soap, I added 4 drops of the indigo oil. It really doesn't take much of this indigo at all. For the dark blue soap, I added 10 drops of the indigo oil and also added about 2 drops of the gold Brazilian clay in an attempt to match the blue in the provided color palette. I don't think it really helped much though, because it still looked like my regular blue indigo soap after going through gel. For the yellow soap, I used about 1/8 of a teaspoon of the gold Brazilian clay. Then I decided to add 1 drop of the indigo oil to try and match the yellow in the color palette. For the orange soap, I added about 1/8 teaspoon of the orange clay, plus a few drops of the pink clay. And finally, for the white soap, I used a rate of 1/2 teaspoon of the titanium dioxide per cup of soap. I separated off a little soap, then added the titanium dioxide to that and blended. Then added it back to the rest. You'll see in a moment that the soap was quite thick when I poured it. I find that I get a more compact, rounded design when the soap is thick. However, this was a bit too thick and caused a few tiny air pockets to form. If the soap is really thin, you'll get more of a wispy, pointy design because the soap flows out towards the side of the mold. As usual, I oven processed the soap so the colors would be as vibrant as possible. I removed the soap from the oven the next day and left it covered on the countertop for one more day, then unmolded and cut it that afternoon. Since this was a cold process soap, I made sure the type of lye was set to sodium hydroxide, or NaOH. My recipe oil weight was 1200 grams. Normally I would use 1100 grams for this mold, but I wanted this soap to be taller and go all the way to the top, so I increased the oils another 100 grams. My lye concentration was 35%, which means my lye solution consisted of 35% sodium hydroxide and 65% water. I left the superfat at 5% and my fragrance usage rate was 40 grams per kilogram. This recipe does contain lard, so I'll show you another lard-free recipe following this one. Once you have all of your information entered, you just select to calculate the recipe, then to view or print it. SoapCalc will give you a nice listing of all of your ingredients, along with the amount of sodium hydroxide required to saponify your oils. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you found something useful here to help you in your soap making.